Welcome to Executive Consultants. We are looking at Tally, and this is our first video that is going to help us to learn how to create a company under Tally accounting software. So when you open the Tally software, it will bring you the gateway of Tally like here, and then you will need to create one. We'll talk about the masters, transactions, import reports, and the rest after us opening up a company. So we are going to create one, and we simply come to company info. Then you press or select create company, and then the page comes on board. So the name of the company, we are going to say it's going to be called The Executives. The Executives Firm, and then automatically it becomes the mailing name. Meaning if you want to import in a package, or want to export a package, or you want to do anything that involves mailing, then that will be the mailing name that will appear on that parcel, The Executives Firm. The other thing that goes on board is the address, where I found on a physical location. So because I'm in Uganda, I would say William Street. Then I can as well as add on my post office box as 1234. Now, you can choose to add on anything that can physically be used to identify your place of work or your place of location. But for now, let me keep it at that, the street name and my post office box number, which is 1234. When I come here, I must warn you that I'm using an education model, not a licensed one. That's when you look at the list of countries, you're not seeing Uganda anywhere. So I will simply choose to say none. But before I do that, we need to see what happens if I select any of these countries. Let me select UK. When I select UK, you can see they step me to the mail. But I'll select another company, that is India, which is a default country in this system. So they bring for me the state, and I will use the list of the states here. That's if I was India, and I will use Delhi. Then I'll simply come with a PIN code, let's say 775, and then the contact as well. But let's go back and I select none because we are not in India. I say none. When I say none, all the information that had been captured disappears. So that means when you get a licensed model, you will be able to put in the country where you are, whether Uganda, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, or elsewhere world over. The mail address, will simply keep it theexecutives@gmail.com. And then we'll go on with our currency symbol, which is Uganda shillings, the mere fact that we're in Uganda. So maintaining the accounts, what type of company are you? Are you a company that is going to keep accounts only, or are you a company that's going to keep accounts with inventory? I must caution you here that when you keep accounts only, you will not be able to add on stock items. You will only be using it to do things like payrolls, taxation bit, but you will not be able to attach anything that involves inventory. In other words, you will not be able to stock in. So I would advise that we go on with accounts with inventory, because when you select accounts with inventory, you can still do what you are supposed to do with accounts only, yet with accounts with inventory, you're given an added advantage of you being allowed to add in stock. So I'll keep it at that, but it is very important for you to know the type of company that you're opening up the tally account with. The financial year, depending on the different country you are in, some states have different financial years beginning dates, but for Uganda as a country, where our financial year starts on 1st July, that is 2021. Allow me to use 2021 because we are in 2022. The moment I put in financial year, the date it starts from, then the books will be automatically begin running from the very date that I said my financial year starts from. The next important thing is the Tally Vault password. Now, if you want to keep your work against the third parties, it is advisable for you to put in a password. But I must also warn you, like the system is, that forgetting your Tally Vault password will render your data unusable, meaning you will not be able to access your data if you put in the Tally Vault password. The other thing that is also important is the security control. As a company, you might want to still protect your data from anyone else that is not part of the company. I would still say a third party. And if you say yes, then they will ask you for the name of the administrator, the password, and then you'll be able to safeguard your work against security risks. So allow me to say no, because we are basically doing it on an educational level and a basic one. So I would still come back to the base currency information. Here we're simply going to look at how do you want your totals, your figures to appear when you do the printing, when you do the entry and the export. So the base currency symbol already has been captured as UGX, and this UGX has a formal name known as Ugandan shillings. So would you want to have decimal places? I would advise you to say no, because if you say 201, chances are high that when you're inputting in data, chances are high that you might take or might mistake the decimal place for a zero, yet it is not supposed to be there. So I would advise for you to avoid such, to simply ignore the decimal places. And would you want to have the symbol fixed to the amounts? Then depending on how you want it to appear, you would still say no by pressing N, or yes by pressing Y. And when you press Y, you simply move on, and then they'll say, would you want your amounts to be millions? The system is saying no. I would advise you to say yes. Why? Because if you say yes, it simply means it will be easier for you to read off numbers or to get to know that you've put in millions, not trillions or billions. So I would say yes, and a space between the amount and symbol, because we've said we want our symbols to be suffixed to the amount. So here I would say no, and then when it comes to decimal places for printing amounts in words, I would simply say yes, just to make our work a bit neat. So the moment I'm done with that and fully satisfied with my entries, I would continue to press enter, and then a moment. Okay, I think I'll simply say no. So it's a yes or no. And then here, decimal places in amounts, it is still going to be a 0. And then the moment you press the 0, they will ask you, are you fully satisfied with whatever is there? And if you say yes, then you'll have created a company under Tally, like we are going to see. Just takes a few seconds and your company will be already up and running. You can see up here that we have the executives farm, and then there are no vouchers entered. We will see how to do all that at a time when we feel like we've gotten vouchers to enter in our company. Now, imagine you're creating this company and then you realize that you missed out the email. The email you put was wrong. what do? You simply come and you press alter, and then you select which company do you want to alter. The company that we just created, which is the executives firm. And when I press on that, they'll bring me back, and I will simply come and I'm like, I will put the right mail, which is executives at gmail.com, and I'll be done, and I'll simply run through, and then I'll say yes, and then my information for the executives firm will have been updated. So that is how we create a company using Tally. In the next subsequent lectures, we will be looking at the different areas. We will be exploring the different areas that make up the system. That is from the gateway of Tally. We'll be looking at the masters, transactions, import, reports, and all that. Executive consultants,